All right, welcome everyone to the final broadcast of the week, pre-market prep at the close. Spencer Israel, Joel Elconin with you. Well, we knew it was going to be a day dominated by oil, and I don't think we couldn't. I couldn't have seen this kind of volatility coming. Joel, start with the S&Ps, but we'll get to oil in just a second here. Walk us through this action.
Okay. You had a higher open, and there was a dip. There was not a dip enough for anywhere that I could have gotten long. Then you had to rip, and you got over 2,800. I mean, hey, that's a number we didn't think we'd be seeing a long time. I couldn't give you anything at 2809.50. I just, as good as my levels are, I just didn't have anything there because that was an area we came down through very hard. And then we chopped around for a while. Then we had that sell-off, like right before the bonds closed. Everyone thinking we're going to get back the gains. And then just about around 3 o'clock, turned around on a dime. And now we're racing back up for the highs for the session. Actually, the pre-market high, which I always note on my sheet, was at 27.85. And that's right where we're trading now. So closing way above, my weekly number, and we're closing above my quarterly number. So all indications point, who knows what happens over a long weekend. But the bull is back and back with the vengeance this week. Crude, we'll talk about that in a second. Down $1.56, 5.6 point range. Must not be a harmony there in OPEC. Gold up $46.90. This is going to be the first close over 1,700 since Spencer was in college. You have silver up 56.5 cents at 15.77. And Bitcoin just kind of flat, down $55. So oil, story of the day.
Yeah, so this is like days like today are really, really good days to have your Benzinga Pro. Because if I pull my Pro and I just do a keyword search for OPEC, I'll just read you some of the headlines that we've gotten today, because there are a lot. So the meeting started at 10 o'clock Eastern time. We knew that. First real headline we got was at 10:25 from Reuters, where an OPEC source suggested that the Russians and the Saudis had agreed on a, quote, deep, unquote, oil production cut. Then there was another headline a few minutes later that they were talking about a cut as big as 20 million barrels per day. Nothing confirmed yet. The day sort of went on here, and you can kind of keep an eye on the chart as far as timestamps go. 11:19, an OPEC plus rep told Bloomberg that the production cut will be by 10 million barrels per day for 2 months. Recall that Trump had suggested, was it last week or the week before, that the cut would be, I believe 15 million barrels per day. So that was a headline we got at 11:19. Headline a couple hours later at 12:43 that OPEC Plus is considering a cut that would last at least 2 years. Headline 10 minutes later, 12:54 p.m. Eastern time, OPEC Plus has agreed in principle to a 10 million barrel per day cut for May through June. Then we got word, oh wait, it's not everyone. Mexico was holding out. They threatened to withdraw, and they were talking through that basically for much of the afternoon here. We just got word about 10 or 12 minutes ago, maybe around 3:30, that all the OPEC Plus members have agreed to a production cut. The latest number that I'm seeing here is there will be a 6 million barrel per day cut. 10 million barrel per day cut is just for May and June. And then from July until the end of the year, it'll be an 8 million barrel per day cut. The 6 million is starting next year. So it's 10 million barrels per day from the next 2 months, May and June, 8 million barrels per day, July through end of the year. And then starting next year, a cut of 6 million barrels per day. So
wow.
we got some details eventually. It took long enough. And I don't know, but I think that's the reason why we sold off here. That plus the fact that the expectations, I think, were a little bit more.
This is a tough market.
Yeah.
The S&Ps are tough. Individual stocks are tough, but you talk about the toughest of the tough markets, and that's the oil market. After hours on Friday, it reached 29.14 and closed at 29 even. And here you are after all the talks and all the uh, negotiations, you're settling $5.50 off that level. I it's just a tough market. That's all I can say. Um, that is the 1927 low. Yeah, well, that's safe for now. It's just a treacherous trade. I know they're double margined. I work numbers for a buddy of mine that trades it, and at one point during the day, just technically, I was long. I was long via the USO for a little bit, but I was just like, this is not working. This trade's not working. And I got out, and boy, am I glad I did, because I would have gotten smoked on that one.
Yeah, really,
So,
really tough out there. Really
yeah.
tough to decipher these markets.
All right. So we're coming up. Everyone tunes in, Spencer, for the market on close imbalances.
I guess
And
so.
for the fireworks that proceeded. We're trading here at 27.81. I don't know how I feel today about them. Basically, if you're trading this, it's a guess. If you think it's going to be a buy and balance, then you're long here at 27.80 and you're hoping for it to pop to 2800. If you think there's going to be sell imbalances, then you're short here at 27.80 and you're looking for, a decline. A 50-50 coin flip is not good enough for me. So I am not going to be participating in this one. My gut trader instinct kind of tells me they might be slated to a little bit to the sell side, because holy moly. If you've been in the whole dip, and the rip, can you see a reason not to take some profits here? We're back at the 50%. That we talked about forever and a brother. We exceeded it. I'm not sure if we're going to close above it or not. But man, if my fund man, well, I don't have much money with fund managers. If they're getting long now, whew, I don't know. I don't know. We can keep saying late to the party here, but this is the area that we thought the market was coming to. This is where the area it came to. I think it's at least going to digest it. I guess someone 60 seconds will look for Triple D. Let's go to his
Not
Twitter.
60 seconds, like 10 sec. I'm sorry. Wait.
Yep.
Yeah, like
Triple D can post them, but I can tell you what's going to happen, just, by the price here. We did have a 10-point sell-off, so they're buying balances. We had a little pop there. Not much of a pop. I think there's small buying balances. That's what I was thinking. Oh, I don't know. Here we
wait.
go.
I feel like my charts must be delayed here. I've been having computer issues all day because
We're
I
kind
think
of
my
exactly
charts are
where
just
we were
delayed.
at right before it came out. So I'm waiting here. We did get a little, we had to drop going into it. So people like me were leaning towards selling balance. Then we just had a little bit of pop. But if these institutions haven't figured out by now that, you know, what's going on with the imbalances and way they're getting front run on both sides, and
Yeah.
maybe they're lighting up a little bit here. Just the way that 350 popped, though, I just kind of feels a little slanted to the buy side here. We'll wait for the official word here. I'm checking out my Twitter feed. And Fari Hamzi bought to open Nasdaq at the market. So Fari must be looking for a buy side imbalance. And just the way that initial pop was, the only thing today, it could be fairly muted because, there's some people are like, okay, you buy, I sell, because I've been buying for the last 2, 3, 4 weeks. Let's see here. Are we not seeing anything yet?
I,
'Cause I don't.
I I'm not really seeing anything. I didn't really see the market do anything just there. So maybe just my internet is lagging here, but I didn't really see anything on my
Well, we sold
charts.
off, and there was a pop. There was an initial pop when it came out, so that's why I'm thinking I'm thinking it's to the buy side here, and now we're rallying 79, 80. Yeah, they're definitely to the buy side. We just don't know how much. And 2 to 2.5 million is really, really, really not a lot.
No, that's nothing.
No. So while we
Wait,
wait for that.
so Joel, wait, what are we up right now for the week? Last I checked, it was 12%
Man.
or around 12% in the SPOOs. The S&P 500 has only risen double digits, double digit percent, I should say, 4 times in history. Right, 3 of those times were in the financial crisis. One of those times was 1974. So we're on pace here for, I think, our best week. If we end the week up 12%, it'll be our best week on a percentage basis since October 7th, 1974. So
Yeah, let's call it 27.80 to the close, right?
okay,
And I'm gonna go to Friday's close, and I'm gonna do 12%.
yeah, I mean, we're right there. So we're looking at second or third best week in the history of the S&P 500 on a weekly percentage basis. So it's kind of incredible.
Yeah. No, I mean it went to the area of resistance. It's at least pausing here. Did you see anything? Did Dennis tweet anything out? I didn't see anything.
No, I didn't see anything. Although I wasn't honestly watching for, I wasn't looking at his
Okay.
Twitter. So
All right, I got the tweet deck up. Are there any issues? We got 7 minutes here. Does anything we should cover or any stocks that you want to cover?
yeah, it was IR Strain saying we should have bought JP. We, meaning I guess me and him, should have bought JPMorgan last week. JPMorgan is the best in breed for the banks, but I'm not particularly inclined to buy any bank at the moment. Just because you don't know what their exposure is to oil. But let's look up JPMorgan here, Joel.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. The company says one thing, Jamie Dimon says the other. So that was very
They
interesting.
they kind of said both things at the same time. They said, on the one hand, we think the economy could start reopening in the next 1 to 2 weeks, but on the other hand, we expect this recession to have a very long tail. So I'm not really quite sure how to interpret that.
All right, interesting level 104.39. That's your high of the session. Currently trading at the 103 area. I'm looking at the spike high on one of these days, and that was at 103.99. What's your high today? Your high today is 104.39. So to me, 104 is huge in JP Morgan. I mean, needs to get above 104. I anticipate that will get more of its move back. Nowhere near a 50% retracement here in JP Morgan. Had a high, let's call it 140. The low for the move was, let's call it 80, 60, 30. So you need to get to that 110 area there for JP Morgan to do the 50% retracement. And I think a good lead over that would be oh my God, the market and closing balances are only 450 million to the buy side. That's nothing. That's absolutely nothing. That's so little. That is so little. I'm surprised. I guess we're rocketing now because people I probably were anticipating the selling balances, and then they came out small buy. So everyone's scrambling now. We are just going to try and close right at that 50% level. Currently up $47 at $48 at 27.83.
Let's go to Visa here. I haven't looked at Visa MasterCard. I wouldn't mind owning one of them, whichever one probably has the safer balance sheet. But yeah, I could be interested I haven't looked, but I could be interested in here.
I don't think this one's taken halfway back either. 214, low of the move, 134, 80-point move, 40. Add to that, that's one. No, yeah, it's right there. It's right there at the 50%. I'd say another important, I mean, just the way this thing's looking here. You had yesterday's high at 176. Today's high, 177.19. The high for the week, 178.80. So I'll just split all that, call it like 177.50. and that nice push, you get above, but it really backed off there. So make sure, but if you're trying to buy this thing on strength, make sure it closes above 177. And actually, a very, very poor relative performance here today for Visa. Market's up 1.8%, and this is trading in the red. So horrible relative base performance here for Visa. Might as well check MasterCard, MA. Same looking chart. That's trading in the red too. So I think a little concerned that people are not going to be using their credit cards as much, and the transactions. I mean, really, as much as we have talked about the COVID-19 crisis and everything, it really took a back seat to market action this week, and
Yeah.
I'm glad for everyone's portfolio, and I know things have
Yeah.
been worsening here in Detroit, Detroit area over the weekend. We're one of the
Yep.
hardest hit. But the market's forward looking, and the market's forecasting a pretty no recession, no depression, but a quick recovery, just like Craig Johnson did this morning on Benzinga's pre-market prep show.
Yeah, just talking about relative weakness here. Look at the semis today, Joel. I mean, take a look across the board. Intel down almost 5%. Texas Instruments down 2%. Broadcom down 2.8%. AMD down 2%. They're all pretty much down today. Really, really weak day for the semiconductors compared to the overall market.
Yeah, but they have had a nice move.
It's true.
They
Yeah.
kind of moved first,
Yeah, you're
right?
right.
Yeah, so the people went to the technology sector. How did House of Mouse end up today? House of pretty much where it was when we were watching it in the pre-market sessions. So, and what other issues did we call? Not a great day for accidental petroleum. I did a quick article on that one. Hit a high of 1827,
Mm,
and now you're down in the red. So that reversal in oil, not great for oil stocks, which led
no.
us out of the abyss last week. But little different story. What the hell's leading us here today?
Financials are leading us here today. Actually, if you look at a sector heat map, I see strength in utilities, strength in financials, strength in software names. So I mean, there's a lot of green out there. Don't kid yourself. The market is up for a reason.
Yeah, but I'm looking at
Um,
J&J, Visa, Procter and Gamble. Strange. I mean, maybe some of your gold stocks are up with the big
yeah.
gold rally, but not as broad based as you wanted it here. With I
All
got
right.
half of the components in
15,
this.
15
15
seconds
seconds.
left. Yep,
Oh,
15 seconds left in the trading week, or at least the main part of the week. We know some of you trade after the close here, so I'll just pull up the spider and we can watch this thing heading into the close. We are going to get our best week here,
quite
among
some
our
time.
best weeks ever. Yep.
Well, the cash print goes off at let's call it 27.78. And we'll see what they do here in the after hours. We did close below the 50% for me. I tracked that at 27.86. So it's a hurdle to clear. We did some work in a 2800 handle. We'll see how the news flow is over the weekend. Let's hope it's good. Let's hope everybody's health and safe and happy and have a good Friday and a happy Easter. Spencer, who's our
Yep.
guest on Monday?
Monday, our guest is Alan Brockstein,
All
the
right.
author of
We
the
need Alan.
420 Investor. I've been talking to a couple of people in cannabis in this week here, and this is really the first economic this is the first recession or anything that has happened since cannabis really became legalized and became a real industry with real capital in it. So we'll get Alan's thoughts about how this will impact that industry, whether whether cannabis is more of like a consumer staple or more of a discretionary spending. So we'll talk about that on Monday. Just to echo Joel's thoughts, hope everyone has a great weekend, a happy Good Friday, and a happy Easter to those celebrating. Happy Passover also to those celebrating that. We made it through another week, so knock on wood for that. Everyone have a great rest of your day. Please remember that all the information from this broadcast is meant to be used as informational purposes, not for investing or trading advice. Have a great day. Have a great weekend, and we'll be back with you on Monday morning.